Okay, so I'm on YouTube a little while ago, and I'm looking up some things and on hell and like I was looking for like a hell and a hell debate. You know, whether there is a hell or there's not a hell. And I saw a bunch of them, and some of them I'd seen before, and I was just looking for something I hadn't seen yet. A good debate, you know, something that would, you know, be interesting. And so I'm scrolling down, and then I come across this one guy. It was like a 6 minute and something video of it was, and the title of it was if God is merciful, why is there a eternal hell? Okay. And I pretty much knew what it was going to be about just by the title, because what it was going to be about was, and I even listened to a little bit of it, but it was, the guy wasn't really, he kind of spoke in broken English or whatever, and it was, the audio wasn't really good anyway. But anyway, I didn't need to listen to it much of it because I knew where he was going. What he was saying was that's what someone would pose as a question to a minister or something, you know, a preacher or something. Well, now, preacher, if God is merciful, why is there an eternal hell? Which is a very good question. Because it doesn't, I was going to say it doesn't seem to make sense, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't just seem not to make sense, it doesn't make sense. If God is merciful, why would he eternally torment someone, have someone eternally tormented? Because those things are just, those two statements, if God is merciful, why does he eternally torment someone? Those two things are diametrically opposed to each other. Okay? That would be like me telling someone that, you know, I love them. Oh, I love you, so-and-so, and then I pull out a club and start beating them with it. And then after I'm beating them into, you know, unconsciousness or whatever, you know, and then I proceed to burn their house down and kill their whole family. But I love you. You know, I mean, it's the same idea as that. Oh, I'm merciful, but I'm gonna have to eternally torment you. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But that's what we've been taught about God. That, oh, he's merciful, he's loved you so much, but he's gonna have to eternally torment you. You know, I mean, you know, but he loves you. I mean, that's just insane. And then people will say, and you'll hear this all the time too, on a like a debate about hell and stuff. The other person that's pro hell will say, well, yes, God does love us, and but he's also just. Okay, and so the justice of God requires that we're eternally tormented in whatever, you know, and that would vary. The torment would vary depending on the person's interpretation of what it is, because the Bible doesn't say anything about what it is. If this eternal hell, this eternal torment is a fact, the Bible does not go into the facts of it. The Bible doesn't go into describing what it is. Is it literal fire? I know the Bible does say, you know, they will be cast into hell fire or the lake of fire, but that's as far as it goes. It doesn't say that it's literal fire. It doesn't say, you know, in other words, there's no real description about what hell is, other than the parable, and again, it's a parable of the rich man and Lazarus, which was given to, the parable was spoken to the Pharisees. If you go back and read the account of Jesus giving the story of the rich man and Lazarus, it was addressed to the Pharisees about the Pharisees. It wasn't about everyone. It wasn't concerning everyone. So, like I've said before, if this hell, if this eternal hell is a fact, and like I say, I'm not claiming to be very smart. I'm not trying to claim to be some kind of great whatever theologian or Bible scholar or anything like that. But just what little bit of sense I've got, I would have to question, like, why, if hell is an actual place of eternal punishment, why wouldn't Jesus have gone into not just detail, but great detail about what it is, instead of some vague, parable of a rich man and Lazarus, and the reason why it's a vague parable, because that's what it is. It's a parable. It's not supposed to be literal. It's figurative. It's metaphorical. It's an allegory. Okay. So, but if it is, again, if hell is a place of eternal torment, Jesus, I would think, again, I ain't claiming to be that smart, but just my little bitty brain would say, well, why wouldn't he go into detail about it? Why wouldn't he go into great detail about it? If it's real, I think I would. Am I more merciful than God? Would I go into more detail than Jesus would? Would I be that considerate? Would I be more considerate than Jesus? I would go into great detail about if this place is real, this place of hell is real. I would tell everything I could think of describing what it is like. But the Bible doesn't say that. The Bible doesn't say anything about what it's like, other than, let's see, there is a statement that Jesus makes that, I'm pretty sure that it is in a parable too. It's the parable of the wedding feast, I believe. Anyway, it's the one where Jesus talks about to cast that unprofitable servant or something like that into outer darkness. Okay. So maybe hell is outer darkness, okay? But again, that is figurative too, because the dark. If you look up the word darkness there in a concordance, the word means to be in error. Okay. So what that means is, it's like saying to someone, "You walk in darkness, brother. Your deeds are dark, and you walk in darkness," meaning you walk in error. You're blind to the truth. Okay? Because when you're blind, that's darkness, right? Anyway, so yeah, so that would be, you could say, well, that's one thing, but again, if hell is outer darkness, which it isn't, it's just, like I said, that's a figurative statement, to be in error or something. You were in error, that's why you were kicked out of the, whatever it was, the wedding feast or whatever, I can't remember what it was. But if hell is outer darkness, I would think, again, I'm not saying I'm not better than Jesus, I'm not more merciful than Jesus, but I would at least would have went into detail about what outer darkness is. I would have said, well, now our outer darkness is a place where it's dark and you're there in darkness, you can't see anything, and you're there all by yourself. There ain't nobody around to talk to. If you can't see, at least you can maybe talk to someone, or something, or listen to a song or whatever on the, some music or something. But no, it's just completely silent. It's just quiet, it's completely silent and it's completely dark, and you're just there all by yourself for all eternity. Now, I would at least, if I were Jesus, I would at least said that. That would be pretty bad, wouldn't it? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine being just in total darkness with no sound and nobody to talk to for all eternity? That would be hell. But at least I would have went into that much detail to, I wouldn't just say, well, you'll be cast into outer darkness. Well, what does that mean? What does that mean, Jesus? Well, maybe it's a figure of speech. You know? Maybe outer darkness just means to be in error. But the Bible doesn't say anything about what hell is like. If there is a hell, it doesn't say anything about what it is. It may say hell, and it may say, even use the reference to fire, but it doesn't say what the fire is. It doesn't say that it's literal. It doesn't. Now, if it was literal, again, I would think Jesus would have said, "Now listen, people, this is literal fire. This is." I mean, he would probably strike a match and he would say, "Come here, sir, and come here. I want to use you as an example of this here." And he says, "Now put your hand over that match there." And the guy puts his hand in. "Oh, it burns." He says, "Well, now see, everybody knows what fire is, right? Well, that's what you're going to be in for all eternity." I mean, I would make it crystal clear what it was that I was trying to convey to them, because this is talking about a person's eternal soul, right? But that's kind of a big deal, right? Instead of some vague statement, some metaphor, or you know. I mean, again, that's just me. I mean, maybe I don't know, but yeah. The Bible doesn't say anything about what hell is like, and again, just common sense should dictate that if you were going to warn someone about something that was going to be their eternal destiny, you would go into a lot of detail about it, because and knowing, well, these people ain't very smart. Now I'm gonna have to really lay this out as clear as I can, because there's a bunch of dumb. A lot of these people are kind of dumb, so I'm gonna have to just really let them know exactly what I'm trying to convey here. It's not. I can't give them just some little parable, because they won't figure that out. So I'm just gonna have to really be just crystal clear on this, what it is. But the Bible doesn't say anything about that, what it is. And not only that, but also that in conjunction with it just doesn't make sense. Like, again, if God is merciful, why does He eternally torment people? Again, that makes perfect sense. Well, it doesn't make perfect sense. It doesn't make any sense. But what I'm saying, the question makes sense in that it doesn't make sense. Yeah, if God's merciful, why does He eternally torment people? If I love you, why am I going to beat you why am I going to beat you to death and then burn your house down and kill your family? If I love you, that don't make sense, does it? And it's interesting that we're taught this our whole lives, and a lot of people devote their whole lives to church and God and everything, and yet they won't even sit down and think about, no, this doesn't. Let me think about this. They don't even question what they believe. And there's a reason for that, is because the ego won't allow you to question yourself. Your ego's not going to go, let's see now, could I be wrong about this? Maybe I am. No, the ego won't allow you to question yourself, because I'm so-and-so, I'm not wrong. I'm not even going to question this thing that I've devoted my whole life to, because I can't question myself. That's ridiculous to me, for me to question myself. I can't be wrong about this, so I'm not even going to take time to question whether I'm right. Anyway, yeah, if God is merciful, why does He torment people forever? That's a good question.